Hi everybody, I wanted to do a quick ring pour with the Artist Loft Ready-Mixed Pouring Paint. I used it for the first time yesterday on a Dutch pour and it turned out really beautiful, except for I did learn that if you mix it with your own other paint that has a different pouring medium, it could actually cause crazing. So I kind of learned a valuable lesson yesterday. So I'm going to try to do a tree ring pour, and I'm going to layer it sort of in this reverse order. I'm going to start with the turquoise, and then the violet, and then the deep yellow, and the crimson, and the phthalo blue, and I may do the aqua green in that mix too. So one thing I have learned the hard way about tree ring pours is to separate where you're pouring them into the cup. I never really did that, and I never understood why I didn't have distinct lines, and then I figured it out one day. So far this weekend has been a fun painting weekend, but I've had a few epic fails, so those tend to be the things you learn the most from, so figured we'd try to do something simple tonight. I realize I'm pouring out of the frame, sorry. Used to the camera being a little bit further away. Cool thing about these, although they're a little bit overpriced, is when you don't want to make a huge mess and spend half your life mixing paint and pouring medium, it's much more of a quick fix. And I think I am going to use this aqua. But from the very little experience I've had with these so far, they create a really glossy, shiny finish, which is pretty. And they seem to have a little bit more of a distinct line. I have not used them for cells. What happened yesterday is I don't have the white one, I haven't been able to get it. And I put a base layer of my regular Artist Loft or whatever paint with my pouring medium, which yesterday was glue all and water. And because these have their own pouring medium, I'm assuming that is what caused the problem, is the pouring mediums caused crazing, which I've never had before. And I think I just messed up my ring. I don't know if you can see what I just did there. But anyway, we'll find out. They're all really pretty colors, so it can't be ugly, so I feel like I have too much paint already. But if I do, I have an idea. So what goes in last will be the center. Oops. Well, sometimes, maybe not the way I have this in the thing. So I think I'm going to just do a little dollop of that. All right, let's see. Let's see if I have too much or just the right amount. Or the bad thing is I've got my center away from my spout, so this may not be ideal. We'll see. If you've done tree rings before, you can tell that those lines are a lot more distinct than you would normally see. And that's what's kind of cool about these paints, because they all have the same consistency. You tend to get results that you probably wouldn't get if you mixed your own paint at least not as easily. Now I can see where I put the turquoise and the aqua together. They're kind of two sides of the same coin, so maybe it over blue. We'll see. This may not be too much paint at all. So I'm going to let this kind of do this thing so I don't end up with a crazy center. All right. Having a hard time controlling that there. So we have a little extra in the cup. Looks really pretty so far. I don't really see any air bubbles, so we'll just start to tilt it. I'm not wearing gloves, which I probably should be, huh? That's probably why my hands get so dirty. I just realized this is super crooked, sorry. Super afraid to drop my phone right in the middle of that. So I used kind of an interesting mix of colors. It's kind of afraid that they're going to be muddy. What I did not do is put some paint underneath, and I'm having trouble getting it to slide. So I'm afraid that I'm going to lose some of this. I have learned to not rush the stretching process. You get a lot better results if you gently move it one direction, come back to your center a little bit. I have stretched a lot of really beautiful stuff clean off the side, trying to rush. And fluid art teaches you a lot of patience, and that you can't control everything, so it's really good for that. Because you can have a perfect idea in mind and then it may not be how it turns out at all. I can see that, well, for one, we're starting to lose a lot of our design, but I can see that the use of the blues are sort of appearing to be very dominant. Need to get a little bit further down here. Starting to lose a little bit of stuff in the process. But what's really cool about this paint is it's really, really glossy and really shiny. And it dries pretty shiny from what I've seen so far. Okay. Let's see if we can come down here now. I can see where I kind of switched to a straight pour in the end and lost some of my ring action. You can see the turquoise is kind of taken over there. And we kind of lost a lot of the yellow, but it seems like it's coming out a little bit. Oops, I messed up my corner. Okay, so the corners are covered for the most part. I need to do a little cleanup on the edges, but I can do that. So far, this is what we've got. It muddied a little bit more than I would have liked. Oops, I just touched it with my shirt. And use a little bit of what's coming down here to get the edges so I don't overstretch it. And then I'll stretch it just a little bit more. What's really cool about this paint is because it dries so glossy. A really light varnish should kind of keep up the same momentum. Like sometimes to keep the lustrous color I might resin it, which takes a little bit longer. But for this one, I don't think we'll need to. The other one dried really glossy, other than the giant cracking, which really upset me. But that's how we learn, I guess. I think I am going to stretch it a little bit more because we lost a little bit of the design in the corner. I'm curious if it will dry the same or if it's going to lighten up or darken up. So I'm kind of curious about that. I thought I had way too much paint, but it looks like we had just enough. In this situation, it doesn't really seem like torching it is of any value. Doesn't really seem like there's a lot of air bubbles to pop. And since we're not really going for cells, I do want to move it around a little bit and see if we can get a little more definition from the middle. I realize that I'm like tilting this way out of the frame, sorry. There's some really cool rings up here that I kind of want to exaggerate to overpower the turquoise domination that we're having over here. So I'm just trying to get them to come out a little bit. But I'm pretty pleased with how it came out overall. Hopefully I'm not missing any major white spots. Just found one where my fingers have been. Okay, so hopefully this is a fairly decent close-up. Maybe I bring you further down. Just need to clean up one edge over here and we'll be all done. All right. Here is where we finished. I'll hopefully post a final picture once it dries, but thanks for watching.